waiting for the connection. And good morning, Jake.
Good morning, Kurt, and hello to everybody out there. Welcome to another episode of Making Turbo Pit Fighter. Sorry for the delay. If you were trying to tune in on time, we had to restart a few times due to technological cancellations. But we're here, and hopefully we're stable. Um, so where are we in the world? We're still trying to finalize Do Magazine #1. Kurt, you sent me the last 10 pages all inked of Turbo Pit Fighter #1. That's exciting.
Yes, sir.
And that means we got to continue lettering. but but
Well, after we get the anthology out, Doom Mag's anthology out.
yeah, make sure your volume's loud because I can barely hear you.
You hear me? Can you hear me now?
Hope so. Let me turn my volume up. So
Yeah.
yeah, we got to get Doom Mag's #1 out. We're closing in. But then we're gonna turn around and work on Turbo Pit Fighter #1. That's so exciting. Um, so yeah, the question about how to finish Doom Magazine #1 is all about the zine pages. So I finished the one zine page that I was working on last week. That's the lead-in for the inside front cover. The one for the Duke is just about finished. I just have to flow the text in and then finalize the arrangement. And then I have to decide which of the other, um, topics or bullet points we're going to create zine pages for. Now, we had, after we got off the air last week, I sent you a little text and it said, why don't we split the last 10 pages and into eights, and then we could run 8 pages instead of 6. And you were like, no, it's going to take time to put the word balloons on those 2 pages. But I'm thinking it would be a lot quicker to do that than it would be to create 2 zine pages out of scratch. Both of them take time. So I was thinking about making the 6-pager into an 8-pager, and that will cut down our page count necessary, and I think that brings us closer, quicker, to finalizing.
You know what? If you're saying you can get through 2 pages lettering quicker than 2 more pages of the zine stuff, and we add 2 more pages to the turbo teaser part of it, I'm all for it. I just was on the flip side of that. It was more like was it just going to cost more time? Like it was just going to push us out another week or two, or what
Well,
have you.
it's going to be time either way to make the zine pages. So, I mean, I'm averaging about 1 zine page a week.
Yeah.
But and then I could also try to do some stuff offline. But you know what's going on this week, which we also need to talk about, is the Comic Art Live.
Yeah.
Are you all signed up for that?
I am not. Are you?
No, but I was planning to, and I was reading the instructions.
Yeah.
So for folks that don't know, Comic Art Live is a virtual original art Comic Con online virtually, where a whole bunch of not just comic artists, but also dealers, and resellers all set up a little page on the Comic Art Live website. And then they have this 2-day sale where everybody's posting up to 24 pieces, whether you're a dealer or an artist, for sale with prices. And they I guess they promote it and everything. And I haven't participated in one of those, but I'm thinking about doing it, but that's next week. So that means I got to find the pieces, scan them, put them online, list them, and then I should be ready to go. On Saturday, you're supposed to not stray from your computer so that if there's any inquiry, you can respond in a timely manner.
No, you
But
can. You can stray away. The thing, if I can just interject, the bigger, there's two sort of like issues I have right now. Actually, three. The biggest one is I don't feel like I'm prepared. I have had my head in the turbo, not well turbo, but the Crom Anthology World, and I just and this week coming, I'm basically just shot. I don't have the time to put in, and so to throw. Good morning, Charlie. To throw something up, I think I feel would be more of a detriment. The two other things is this: there's an app that you should be using. So that's one thing that is kind of still at large and in figuring out from once again my side. And the second thing is that their salesmanship for this is, yes, we have been in previous IC3s. Yes, you are going to Jacksonville IC3, so they do give you a booth, but the booth is really minimized in the things that you can do. But if you're a member, a premium member of Comic Art Live or Comic Art Fan, I think is really what it is, which is like $75 for the year, you get all the bells and whistles. So this morning when I was going through setting up and kind of just feeling a little too anxious and maybe even a little bit on the panicky side, I bailed out. I'm not going to do it this weekend. I have done it in the past, not only with them for IC3 last year, but I did it twice with IX, the imaginative realism fantasy show that I was doing for 6 years up in Reading. So this is completely my point of view on it. I really do want to do it, and I am going to make way more efforts for November to be a part of it. But it is, in my opinion, equally needs to be thought about as you were going to do a live show. So there's like, going live. They have this whole sketch card and sketch thing that you can submit to. There's just a lot of things that I think if you really want to sell art, you really need to be entrenched in their system. And I do believe part of that is the $75 a year membership fee.
Right. Yeah, it's good info to know. I do think if you just get up online, you probably get a basic thing, and it's not like you're getting tons of people steered to you. You're just another. I mean, you might find somebody that likes your aesthetic of your work, but it's I'm not a name, so you're probably just going to sit there and not sell anything, I imagine.
It's tough. I think the other thing too that I don't want to go forward, because Kazra had said that one of the neat parameters that you can partake in is tagging, and I don't see that anywhere. And I'm assuming that tagging system that you can really see and monitor is under the $75 a year membership.
Oh, sure.
I have no problem with the membership. I have no problem with paying for the membership. I'm just not going to pay for it right now and then not need it, quote unquote, till November. Or, I got to spend more time on comicartfans.com and then maybe be a member and then see, because the SEO is always the trick. So if somebody out there is a Conan and Red Sonja collector, I want to nail them. That's really, that's the business model. Good art is just in the wind. Everybody's making good art. It's completely subjective. But what you have in the base of thinking for fan collectors is they like either certain properties or specific characters. Then if they like your art and it's affordable, they're more than willing to take a chance, if you will, or invest in you. I've experienced it many, many, many times, but doing it through this online comic book art show, ArtCon, online is I think it's a lot of work.
Well, some people are looking to do commissions. Some people are looking to raise money. Some people have the impetus and the motivation and the time to prepare. We might not. As you're saying this, I'm thinking about my situation. I have a busy week at school,
Yeah.
and a couple of other things offline that I have to worry about. But maybe some other people that are listening. We got Saboteur in the chat. We got Mystery Eye Studio. Everybody's on a different level. Hey, morning, guys. Everybody's at a different level of commitment and time availability. I mean, if this was the summer, I would be over the moon. I'd have all week to prepare, and I would probably try to really make some money. I might even take, offer up some commissions and see if I get any takes.
Yeah.
But enough about that. So yeah, I'm gonna hold in abeyance too. I'm probably going to well, what I might do is just go through all my stuff and just curate all the pieces either way, because I have to start doing all that anyway. And I have all my poster art. One question I had is, if you're posting a picture of your work and another version of it was printed and published, right? Like if I do black and white line art and I'm trying to sell the original art, and then you have a printed poster that's full color, can you also display the color version and say this was, the resultant product, So, can you have two pictures for one piece? I guess. I don't know. So that's a kind of an interesting question. So I'm still trying to work through my Florida haul, and I just isolated not too much, maybe this much for today, and I'm gonna rip through it. But I noticed, Kurt, that you got some pencils there that you did.
Yeah, I put a little sketch together over the week, just in between, time, and I just wanted to stay busy in land of turbo world. Also, I'm very interested in doing some mock-up printing. As I said last week, oh hey, we got Matt Mega and Daryl Grant here, man. We got 7 people in here, man.
The
We're
Kings there and Daryl Grant. Wow.
Yeah. I mean, but so I just kind of put something together in the way of a pinup, which I'm going to do the same approach I made with my Lorelei pinup. So it's a little. So I used to do this whole black line skeletal inking first, and then I would put all the tones in. Now I'm putting in all the tones / color in, and then building the inking skeletal line work over the top of it. So I wanted to do one for that. And this is going to be a cover for all 28 pages of my inking of Turbo issue #1 that I want to do, basically a mock-up print just to see, because I'm already concerned that as the 4 years went on and the 28 pages, I did introduce some technical elements that I have a feeling I'm going to need to go back and hit previous pages. So I would love to see the way it looks reduced and printed in comic book format, and then kind of go from there. So I just figured I want to do a pinup while you're getting us all together for Doom magazine.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, there's nothing.
I don't have any. By the way, I have none of the pencils from issue 2 that you've done. I have none.
No, I didn't give you those yet.
Yeah. So
yeah, I did give you a bunch of stuff to ink though. Are we all caught up on that? The last time we hung out in person.
Once again, I couldn't tell you what those things are. I mean, I know there's stuff, but I think we need a little more of a just time spent inventorying things and then looking towards application of why we would want to have this. completed, if you will.
Yeah, we should do that at some point. I have a whole bunch of original art, and some of this is pencils that I don't know if you want to ink it or not, but I
Sure,
could
yeah.
show it.
If there's going to be time, then yeah, that affordability is there. But the other thing too, I just want to remind everybody is we've got Corinne Halbert coming on at 11:30. She's on
Look at that.
stage.
I
So
got my copy upstairs.
yeah. I just started rereading our Acid Nun this morning just to get refamiliarized, and man, what a trip! So looking forward to getting Corinne on. So, but yeah, why don't you jump through these last books that you have from Florida?
And guys, if you're in the chat, feel free to plug whatever you're working on or your wares, your site, so that everybody could check each other out. So yeah, I was down in Orlando. Then I was down in Daytona. Then I was in Wilmington, North Carolina, and then I was in Virginia. I don't know. I forget the name of the area in Virginia. But these are all dollar comics, and I bought so many dollar comics that I even got a deal, because what I do is I make one pile, and then I bring it up to the counter. Then I make another pile, and I was like, look, I'm definitely in for these, but if you could do a little better, I'll grab these too, and then that usually seems to work. So and the reason why I do that is because I just want to buy more comics. It's like I try to just use up all the singles and fives that I collect during the school year. All right, so here we go. Bushido #4, Eternity Comics, 1989. Last week we were really in 1989 big time. So I'm giving this a flip, and I'm liking the line art. It's kind of spare, but it sticks to its own self. There's a little bit of too much talking around here, but Bushido seems like this female character who gets into some kind of prison situation here. So as you know, like, I'm always interested in women's prison comics because I'm making one at some point. Yeah, and this this matron is like manhandling Bushido and beating her up, stripping her down, and then
That's Ben Dunn, right? That is Ben Dunn. That book is
Ben Dunn is penciler on Bushido, Warriors of the Rising Sun. The lead-in: a small group of Hiroshima survivors and their descendants exhibit powers beyond those of normal humans. So that's like Turbo, right? Some people get sick from the radiation, and some people get stronger. Gathered together by leading research scientists, Dr. Muniharu Asano, these paranormals learn the discipline of martial arts and rigorous academic training, in addition to the mastery of their telekinetic abilities. The men and women of the Asano group represent the best Japan has to offer. Or do they? I love it. The simple setup. And now you're on issue #4 of this. So this is probably a really fun read. They get some real edgy stuff going on. There's nothing like explicit adult or anything, but it's like, kind of creepy and kind of like tense. And then, I don't know, so let's go through to the end. It's a substantial comic. It seems like it's about 20 something pages at least. And then some cool ads in the back. I've seen these before. H.G. Wells, Sherlock Holmes, Seminar. We've seen these a lot. So Eternity Comics, great. Love it. It's definitely worth $1. All right, Captain Savage and his Battlefield Raiders, Marvel Comics. They serve in silence. Brace yourself, Swabbies. That depth charge is gonna. And then here we see in silence, they're just rattled or knocked over, tilted. This I was watching Sarah Frazetta last night. Kurt, does that come up in your feed all the time too?
Yeah, all the Fridays with Frazetta.
Yeah. And she said that Frank Frazetta used this kind of like circular portal inside of a spaceship. Obviously, this is a submarine here, but that Wally Wood had done it to great effect, and so then Frank Frazetta borrowed it or appropriated it from his personal friend Wally Wood, and it is a great backdrop when you have that kind of like circular frame and then all this technological stuff all around. I gotta do that too. So Captain Savage is written by Gary Friedrich, penciled by Dick Ayers, and inked by John Severin. And this is funny because last week we had Dick Ayers on inks and John Severin on pencils. So this is why I get these war things. Oh my God, talk about bogged down. Look at this page. Words.
Oh,
words.
crap.
A lot of words here.
Oh my Lord. Who
So
wrote
Gary
that?
Friedrich, it probably was really flexing his World War II research, and he probably wanted to show how authentic he is and how well researched it is. But he ended up bogging down the penciler, and so that they can only use about half of the room on the page. And not such a big deal because it's just talking heads anyway. But here we go into the action. The depth charges are dropped, and now the explosions are going off. They're hitting the floor. The submarine's hitting the floor. This is great stuff, man. I want to read. I want to sit down and read this. There isn't enough time in the day. My to read pile is ridiculous by my bed, Kurt. Right now, I'm so behind. I got to be like maybe a year behind or 6 months behind on my to read pile. I mean, I got boxes down here that should be on, that I should be pulling stuff out for the to read pile because I haven't read them yet. There's never going to be enough time. That's why I relish being on with you, Kurt, and looking at this stuff. This is great. This is great pencil, really fluid. I like this. Let's see. So, Turok Son of Stone. I had maybe one or two of these last week, but it was Gold Key, I think, or Dell, right? And this is not. This is Whitman, which means I think they took the exact same comic and they put a Whitman logo on it for like Whitman Department Store, maybe, and or Whitman Distribution or whatever, and then they put out the exact same comic. So published by Western Publishing, Poughkeepsie, New York, 1975. Wow, this is when there were good jobs in Poughkeepsie, man. Publishing, printing. They used to print this stuff in New York too sometimes. I know Varick Street down in the city used to have gigantic presses. There might still be some left. There was all these 4-color glossies being produced down there on a monthly basis in the Lower West Side of Manhattan. So this is good. It's a little bit stodgy, like some of the positions, but it's very, very serviceable. The colors kind of mess it up. They're using all these kind of dead pastel-y colors. It doesn't bring any tension at all, right? Green, red, light blue, boring. But this is a good amount of text on a page versus the image. Some of these colors get it nice, but most of them are chasing me away here. It's just that they're fighting these dinosaurs, and we don't get to know the name of the artist anywhere. So it's just, when you work for Gold Key or Whitman, you're just a for-hire hand, and you're not even allowed to sign it anywhere. One day, Kurt, we got to just go over these, man. These, right? Am I right?
What are those patches?
The patches. I used to spend a half an hour just staring at the patches when I was a kid, and so that's ingrained in me because I wouldn't just see these patches here. I would see these patches downtown. My mom lived in Soho, so there was like, Bleecker Street, and you would see these patches. So it like makes all these like neural connections in my brain, endorphin rushes. Is there a new Megatrip project? Um, I was sending Matt King some emails because Bill Griffith was recommending an artist, and I want to see if he was interested, if anyone wants to use him. It turned out the artist, he has a good style, but it's very like cartoony, like kind of like milk and cheese characters. I don't know, so it definitely wasn't up either of our alleys. All right, here we go. Shaolin #2 by Pied Piper Comics. And I have some Pied Piper comics. I don't remember what they were offhand, but this looks interesting. And it's credited to Johnson and Lasik. So it's 1987. We're still around the boom of the late 80s here. Peter Quinones and Glenn Johnson, scripter, co-creator, penciler, Marty Lasik or Lassick, inker, and professional lettering. Black and white indies. Here's ninjas. So this is Eat Your Heart Out, Kurt. Beautiful. I like the way that he draws these beautiful women. He kind of repeated this.
What issue is that?
#2, The Beast Warriors of Shaolin.
Oh shit, yeah. I don't have that.
Really nice way the page has these textures and these gray tones. He has a little bit of film here. Here he's just using a protractor and whatever, a ruler, On here he's doing spot blacks, but it jazzes up the page, man. I recommend really good black and white interplay. I mean, look at Frank Miller, the master, but so many pages, start with black and white interplay. Then if you are going to add color, you could really make it a masterpiece. I'm liking this. It's action packed. He's got a good style. It's a very reminiscent style. Look at his face. It's a very reminiscent style of the way that manga was influencing U.S. comics.
Yeah, that's definitely a Maramanga.
And it was but wasn't it just creeping in around this time?
Yeah.
Not too many guys. So many people have that hybrid now. Like, oh yeah, I do like.
So technically speaking, what takes off in America, the first Japanese comic book that actually had Americans working on it was Macross. So, and right. I think, didn't that start with Aircell or one of those guys? And so what happens is there was such a popular hit, definitely with the black and white, the distribution models that were going on back then, that, they were like, well, hey, let's try doing something else. And Ninja was, by 84, Ninja was like the word.
Yeah, I didn't get into Ninja as much as you, but I was aware of it. And, I'm just kind of looking at this historically because at the time, I think I was like a doofus riding around in a $100 pickup truck with a mullet. So, I missed all this fun stuff at the time. But I like this. So I'm going to call out Glenn Johnson, penciler, Marty Lasik or Lasik, inker. This came out great. I would definitely buy another one of these. The backup story is a Hero Alliance preview. So that's probably where I know Pied Piper from, the Hero Alliance. Let's see if they have an ad for it in the back. So they had X Mutants, which I have a couple of. They had the New Mutants, and I think the X Mutants jumped to another publisher later.
Yeah.
Hero Alliance graphic novel, and this is what they were up to. And no, they just had the cover here for Shaolin #1, and then they're previewing the cover for Shaolin #3. So this may or may not actually exist. Who knows? But hopefully they do. And this is a great pickup. Like, this could probably use its own episode, but we haven't done like single comic episode for a while, right? Oh my god. So This is Barry Blair, right? I could just tell by the style. Kimura, number 3. Um, and I'm kind of on the fence on Barry Blair because I might have enough of his stuff, but I just keep getting it because it's Aircell, or actually, this is not Aircell. This is Night Wind with Y Enterprises, and I wonder what that's all about. Murray Hill Station, New York 10156. That means Midtown New York, Midtown Manhattan. Night Wind Enterprises. The indicia just has the boilerplate. No similarity without satiric purposes between any name. Blah blah blah. Um, yeah, I mean, here you get like a page of laser printed Microsoft Word text from Barry Blair. So I think Barry Blair is just at this period in his career where he's cranking out pages and cranking out comics, and I think he had a pretty good career. I hope he did. He made a lot of comics. Some were adult, some were just kind of mature. This one looks like his standard fare, but it's maybe a little bit more of a accessible style. I wanted to say mainstream, but he'll never be mainstream. He was another one that had this cartoony style. There's like this genesis from Vaughn Baudet to manga, it invading the US. And there's always been these cartoony, styles that are like serious, violent comic book, action. And, the Marvel and DCs of the world, have always looked down on that, and they never published that for many, many decades. But, to me, the only thing that matters is the storytelling. This looks like great storytelling throughout. This looks like a quick moving comic that he probably did on the quick. Some of these backgrounds are minimal, but really good delivery on the foregrounds. And then he could always just color this and jazz it up at some other time. So nice stuff. And then Happy Holidays from Nightwind. I'm going to take a guess and that Nightwind is just Barry. That there was no more to it than that. Look at this. This is nice. What is this? Strattonut on sale now. I like this. Don't you think this is great?
Yeah.
I wonder if this ever came out. It says on sale now. I'm taking a photo. I love that. Meet Barry Blair in person, New York Comic Con, 1992, Ramada Hotel. I'm probably spending too much time on it, but I love this era. I could just be in this era, and there's going to be a point where I run out of dollar comics that I can find that I haven't seen already. But that's always the hunt. Slave labor graphics, Kurt. Any run-ins with them over the years?
Yeah, rejection letter.
Yeah, me too. It was the nicest rejection letter ever.
Yeah, it was.
They were just like, we're not real. We're just, we're small. We only do a couple things a year. Yeah. It was just like, it was so encouraging. Your stuff is great. It was so nice. But here's what they were doing in 1988. I think this was probably a little bit before I wrote to them, but it shows how much they've been around. San Jose, California, 1988. This is Neomen number 2, slave labor graphics. And the new dark age. After the great collapse, the world is parched and desolate wasteland. You got me. I love it. Hidden deep within an installation known as the Citadel is Mentor, the last genetic scientist, kept alive by a sophisticated life support system. Hello, the sentience, right? We all have these kind of concurrent ideas because they're going to really happen. Kept alive by a sophisticated life support system, he has labored for a century after the collapse to create a race of super beings capable of surviving in and repopulating this nightmare world. However superior they may be, the Neomen are still very few in number. This was exactly the setup to this one right here, our first piece, the Bushido, right? Everybody's doing the same thing. This is just doing it in America, and here's doing it in Japan. leaving his lifelong haven, he emerges into the surface world and begins his exploration. So now, when you start reading, like you give a crap, right? It's like, okay, this is my genre. You have a couple of particulars, but we're in the formula, and I love the formula. I can't get enough. Here's busted up cars. So now I'm thinking about Road Warrior and all my faves. Here's cyborgs. This is the guy being kept alive in a bubble. Now I understand why he's there. You know, see, Kurt, like a little bit of text. If you can indulge the person, you could get into their frame a little better. I mean, even movies, right? They have that one screen or sometimes a lot of text. Like Star Wars had a lot of text, right? That brings you into the story, and it's like, all right, we have some visuals for you, but before we do it, we're going to give you some literacy here, and some verbiage, so settle in, eat your popcorn, snuggle into your seat, and then you start saying da 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 pew pew pew, and then you're hooked, right? So this looks like another quality comic right here. It's a little bit superhero-y, but I think these are like special exosuits. And this is kind of sparse as far as like text, but you don't miss it that much because you're just like, all right, how many pages of of page turning action am I gonna get? And I just want to plug the artist, but I don't really see the name. Again, this is 1988, so we haven't left like a 3-year period so far with these indies, and there's no name anywhere. The guy's got a really good style, kind of like a Keith Giffen style, and just a very serviceable kind of like Frank Miller-ish thing. This looks like he might have referenced a couple of comics, good comic guys. I don't know. So who is this great artist? It doesn't say anywhere.
Oh, really?
Here's an ad for Hero Sandwich.
Mm-hmm.
This looks like it's taken out of an exploitation movie.
Extra mayonnaise, please.
Okay, here we go. Finally on the back, and they waste the back cover. But concept: Gary Winnick, Frank Scirocco, pencils, inks. Gary Winnick, Frank Scirocco, layout, design. I'm not sure what that means. Everything else besides the pencil.
What's the cover? Let me see the cover again.
The Neo Man, slave labor graphics.
Wow.
It's in great shape. This is 1988, and
88.
If Slave Labor Publisher is listening, please get in touch with us. We really love your stuff from the day, and we know
Did you say 1988?
Yeah.
Wow, I didn't think they were around that early.
Yeah, I was saying, like, I probably reached out to them like in the early 90s.
Yeah, I did too. I think they actually like started ramping up. I think maybe they figured things out.
Did you do this? This is what I did. Did you do this exact same thing? I went to every comic store I could, and with a pencil and pad, and I wrote down the name and the address of every publisher of comics, of indie comics, right? And then you go home and you send out your like Xeroxes to them.
Yeah, but there were trade magazines. I forget which ones there were. The Comic Buyer's Guide. They were just like literally like newspaper giveaways most of the time, and they would in the back also have classifieds. I still think that's how I found you, or my dad found you. Yeah, you would put a classified in.
The dynamic duo.
Yeah, because we never met. My dad was like, when I got out of school, wanted to really help me, at making it as an artist, and the business approach was exactly that, just putting samples together and constantly, licking stamps and finding, art director names and addresses and sending them out and getting rejection letter after rejection letter. But I think you were one of like 3 or 4 people.
But we found work. I worked for.
I did fine. I mean, once I started going to shows, especially New York, and just showing my portfolio off, I always walked out of a show with work. what it was always, can you finish this? Can you finish
Yeah.
this? Can you finish this? Like,
Right.
I spent like a year and a half finishing this for like 2 or 3 publishers. That comic book, yeah, that comic book is a real what is it? Tongue in
cheek.
Tongue in cheek. That comic book is that's a groundbreaking book. That was one of those things where that guy Mark Lucifer was Mobius's representative in Hollywood. And if you go on and search like their relationship, it was really contentious. But he would basically have Mobius do concepts, and then he would just expand on them with other artists. And in my portfolios, I always had like my Mobius stuff, and I was in communication with him. And once again, like 99% of the jobs that I was hanging around waiting for, they would fall through and this one was because of Mobius. It was like, and he was trying to get out of his arrangement with this guy, I believe, or something. He was leaving Hollywood, and he was just trying to tie things off and stuff. So this one project, but that was back in the day, probably one of my favorite. Like, if anything was going to bring me to a comic book store, I think it's like 6 issues. What is it? No, it's 2. What? No, there was another series with those 2 characters, and they were.
I bought a bunch of Dark Horse Presents. I bought, these are good, and
yeah,
they had maybe 6 or 10 of these, but I probably only grabbed 2, because I didn't want to just load up on all that. But this one is a Lucy, and so let me speak about this for a sec. Like, this is as good as Mobius.
Yes, no, that's my point. Like, it was somebody who was aping him, but really, like, very, very, very well. Like, you would think it was him, and I think Mobius himself was getting very disturbed by it, as I believe what was said.
This is credited. It says story by Randy and Jean-Marc L'Officier.
Yeah, that's his representative in Hollywood. Those were the representatives. I used to talk to Mark only when he called. I'd never called him, and because of long distance phone charges. But he would check in. I had like 3 or 4 phone calls with him, and he was like, "Oh, I just want to make sure you're standing by."
It says right here. Says right here, inspired by the works of Jean-Mobius Giraud.
Yeah.
So they're doing it apparently with the blessing and the imprimatur of being from the studio.
For a time being.
Yeah.
For a time being.
And the greatness of this is, number one, the art as good as Mobius. The story looks pretty involved. I mean, I'm not reading everything right here, but this is a pretty erotic thriller. But it doesn't look like it gets past like even a soft R. I'm trying not to show certain pages, but this is action packed right here, and the page count is going on with this. I'm not showing some of these spicy things here, but look at this. It's like a spy thriller, and I don't want to just say Mobius. I want to say Manara in here. I see very, very similar traces of Manara. Like, you could just imagine they just pulled up a Milo Manara graphic novel and they were just stealing some poses so that you don't have to, work out the positioning yourself. You could just kind of base it on that. Artists do it all the time. And when something looks so much like Milo Manara, some of these comic book guys on Facebook have like located the original source material and they hold them side by side. And they're like, rip off or homage. So, and the reason why I didn't want to get all these DHPs is because you got to flip through them, because you're getting like 3 sequences here. And this is in 1990, so this is the latest we've been. Aliens with, I guess that's licensed Aliens saga here. Story and art, Paul Guinan. Kings in Disguise, James Vance, artist. Danber. The Argosy, story and art Bruce Zick. And sorry if I don't mention the letterers, but yeah, so this is great art. Dark Horse always has, the highest standards of, artists off the street, right? You can't, and it's got to look good, and this does. This is really good, and this is the alien. This is the licensed alien here in Dark Horse Comics, and he's getting shredded up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 bullet holes or ray gun absorptions here. And that means there's acid everywhere, and it's taking this robot shit.
What a great creature!
Yeah, it's taking this robot
what a
shit.
great monster.
Who's already in pieces. Look, she has no bottom here.
Yeah,
and she's being eaten up by the acid. But then it's a quick out, so it's like a 6-pager. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8-pager. Nice. Dark Horse, man. Great comics. All right, so this is Kings in Disguise. I've seen these floppies. This is a floppy thing that came out on its own. And I don't know what else it might have done. It's been around, Kings in Disguise. And this is just like, kids in the old days, in the Buster Brown days, just hanging out, railroads, little gangs. Look, incarcerated. This is crazy. Or no, in hiding or something. One way or the other. Real high quality. Like, it seems like it starts out kind of basic, a little Will Eisner-y. And then it gets really, really dark here. So this looks like, some of the EC guys, Kurtzman, etc. And I guess the style goes back and forth when it's day or night. Really good. All right, here's the Argosy. This looks sci-fi. And this is Zick, I believe it was. Ooh.
Jeez. Oh, yeah. Oh, see, that stuff just makes you want to quit. Like, how do you top that?
So it's so dimensional.
It's just who is that again?
Zick. It's a story and art. Bruce Zick, the Argosy. Jeez. Now you get to this face style. Like every artist is recognizable by their faces, right? Isn't it weird? Every person draws faces the same way as themselves, over and over. And so that's what makes somebody the dead giveaway is their faces. But can you believe this find? It's got some like graffiti-ish influences. It's got some like folklore, runic influences. Every panel is just architecturally rendered, and then you get to this Kirby crazy drapery thing. Wow, the Argosy by Bruce Zick. Now the Argosy
I think he actually
this is going to be a public domain Greek legend, right? Yeah. I should know this better because my one of my grade teams teaches Greek and Roman gods, and I've done a lot of the gods over the years. But Argosy, wow, I'm blown away. 3 really good treatments of IP that Dark Horse has been managing or presenting. So here's another Argosy. And then the other ones are Trekker, which has got this Euro style. And same story told yesterday, which is some kind of craziness. So let's see. Argosy leads off right where we left off. Boom! Oh, man. Like, the tone work, there's like screen tones here. What year is this again? 1990. On this page, there's like screen tone work. So maybe it's not every page, but right. But he hauled off on this one pin and he made this mountain background in the future. And this one invests a lot in all kinds of zipatone activity. Now, I think what you do is you have a separate gray plate and that goes in for every screen. So now I'm seeing how many actual different screens there are. There's one, this could be the same, maybe two, and then this is darker. No, it seems variable. So to get the screen in the variable tone means you have your holding. Help me out, Kurt. That means you have
Duo shade.
a holding black plate and then a gray tone plate, which is like a Xerox of it that you colored with washes, and then put it through a dot screen.
What about duo shade paper?
But there's a lot of different values here.
Yeah, if you master that shit with the two chemicals.
Yeah, this mask of this tint looks like it is brushed on.
Yeah.
And then I just wonder, it's, you know, maybe the whole thing has a screen on it, but when it goes to all the way black, it's all the way black. I mean, you got to really work with your printer on something like this, right? When's the last time we spent like a whole minute on one page? I mean, without getting distracted. I'll try to keep things moving, man, but I'm just floored. All right.
Yeah, you're at 11-12, my man.
All right. So I'll just let me cut this pile in half. Unfortunately, I'll just tease what we're gonna do next week. This, 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 this. A couple more of these. This, this, Samari. Wow, some good stuff. So that'll be next week, and then let's just finish up with today. All right, we got The Last Generation, 1988, and Mitch Faust is the pencil art. David Porch is the ink art. It says it right here. And Bill Breyer is the writer. And this is Black Tie Studios. I've never heard of this before in my life.
Yes, you have. It's actually was one of the biggest things we ran across in the beginning of our comics that influenced
Black Tie.
Yes, and
Let me see the
Mitch
ad.
Faust, actually, Miss Faust had died the year before, and I knew him through a friend. And I was looking to collaborate with him on something.
Black
so once
Tie?
again, well, I don't know. I can't. It's Mitch Faust and Last Generation.
Yeah, I'm looking at the ad in the back.
I have almost all of them.
The ad in the back, they have some Stephen Hughes, Jonathan Carr, Turtle Soup Mirage Studios, Del Barras. I don't know. This looks like they had a comp called Rough Raiders with all these top artists that they were plugging, and that looks cool. The Last Generation T-shirt, and then here 1, 2, 3 issues of The Last Generation. I have number 4. So Black Tie Studios, Memphis, Tennessee. This is great. They made at least these 4 of this title, and not too many ads of other things. But they have a T-shirt, and then this Rough Raiders comp, and then that's all this comic mentions. So I'm relying on your memory.
See, you go through your books. You have a couple issues already.
Yeah. Okay. It could
I wasn't the one that had brought it to the show. You just had.
Well, if I mentioned them before. Yeah, if I mentioned them before, I might have went a little quick about the publisher, because I'm always so curious, you know.
Right.
But this looks great. Look at this. Same thing. Look, dimensional, detailed, gray tones. Like it's designed right. This it's designed graphically. It's a splash. To me, they waste a little space here, between the top and the bottom. Some people say you really got to frame your art, and I believe, I don't know, I for some reason maximize and just try to to me, it's okay if you blend off the edges and you're a little rougher around the edges, that it's kind of cool the way it melts away. But this is all good, man. So a lot of text here. This is interesting, I want to read some of these. It's hit or miss. Heard my friend Rick. He says all these Yogi Berra stuff, and he's like, yeah. He goes, I know the place you're talking about. Sometimes it's good, but sometimes it's hit or miss. And I'm like, Rick, that's like 75% of the time it's good then, right? So look at this. The winged harpy is shredding this bad guy with robotic muscles, right? This looks like, it could be like Jane Fonda from a magazine. Like he just looked at a pose of somebody. It's great. I don't know. If he did this from imagination, even better. But then we see a big bear humanoid, and yeah, he's kind of creepy. He's dark tinted, very dark tinted, right? To be like a contrast, the darkness and the light.
Black bear.
These great robot guys. Kurt, right here, right? Guys, if you want to make $80 million, take this panel right here and make this like what they did with Roy Lichtenstein. Just take a random panel and make this a giant piece of art. Look at this one panel, right? But this is just one thing on this page from Mitch Faust, pencil art, and David Porch, ink art. You got to give a lot to the inker, man. Look at all these tones and textures. I mean, I don't know who does the films and everything, but sometimes it's an uncredited person at the printer that does stuff like that. Used to be. Look at this, the darkness on the page, the action, the poses. I love this. This scenery that goes right from this to this, and a really nice perspective shot that brings you. But like, look how small this is. So like any panel on this, what I'm trying to say is any panel on this comic like is just, worthy in itself, of the time it took to design it and then publish it with gray tones. Look at this. So here I'm going to say like people will bail out. The letters are too small.
It's the dump.
And yeah, and they just didn't have typography there. The guy had to hand letter it, and he killed himself. I don't know if this letterer. So now let's talk to Rich Harold. If you're out there, Rich Harold, what happened with this job that made you do all this computer letters all on one page? Nobody's gonna read that, unfortunately. I mean,
well, the other thing is, it's not only people won't read it; they'll probably have a very difficult time trying to connect it to what they had just experienced in the story. Like, if you're gonna do anything, like cut up the pieces and then try to like, sparsely get it in there after the fact. But the one thing that they were up against is the solicitation. So the deadline was probably yesterday. And so he was like, fuck, man, we gotta explain some of this for the story. It's not that clear. So let me dump this whole bunch of text on that page.
I'm looking back at this, how designed this is, just how like perfectly old fashioned. It's a Del Barras art. And so they had this poster, Rough Raiders, and I'm gonna look up if Rough Raiders ever came out on my let me see, on my phone while my computer's booting up. Take us through your process so far. You're doing hard pencil now?
Yeah, I get in tonality. So one of the things I did with Lorelei is I did a sketch. It was very loose. Then I, in Photoshop, screened it to like an orange. Then I printed it out on 11 by 17. And then I just started attacking it with Crayola washable markers to just sort of get me somewhere in the way of like color dynamics. And then I have, and as a matter of fact, on crownthebarbarian.com, you can get there too. But on Amazon, there's 4-part series of me going through this process of painting this. So pretty fun, and I list all the supplies in the description. So if anybody's curious about the things that I'm using and getting access to similar tools, they're all right there and everything. So, but it's everything from Crayola. Oh, I got this dude. Oh. So you want a really sweet brush pen set, Jake, for $12, 48 colors? Go out. I have this as a link, but
I have those in school.
These just amazing. The color quality, the brush tip, but then you also get the fine tip, like micron. These are just absolutely amazing, and they are called art pens. And they're just a total Chinese generic. I have the box over here. Wait a second. Yeah, this is what they're called. 28 colors, dual tip brush pens. But they are astounding, because the biggest thing that I'm struggling with
are they paint
markers is that none of the colors go dark unless I go a couple, but even then they don't go dark. These dark colors, this like magenta, the purple, the blue, the brown, even this green, they go dark, like 80% with the still the color hue in there, and it is awesome. So that happens after my that's like part 2, and then 3 and 4 is some painting gouache, and then the paint markers themselves that put in a lot of this in there. So really good time. So like I said, I want to keep pushing this this technique, if you will, or approach. And yeah, I mean, I'm almost done. And then next week, I will definitely have the color version up and running or ready to go, so people will be able to see that. But
before you get all the way done on that, can I say one thing?
Sure.
Can you put her hair in her face?
Like this way?
Well, you design it, but I always try to cover, like at least half an eye.
Oh, okay. Okay, yeah.
But it could be loose pieces, or it could be a big piece, whatever.
Yeah. No, I'm still in the like drawing stage. I'm still in the figuring out stage. So
it's nice when it's nice
I'm not
when
so worried about. I'm not so precious at this point.
Yeah, sometimes I draw a Turbo, like her hair is a little bit like too neat and shiny for a fight. So
Vidal Sassoon.
With all that Sassooning going on, what are you gonna do?
Vidal Sassoon.
But no, sometimes they do it in the movies, but the hair is like wet and soaked, and it's like draped against the contours of the face. And so basically you're just drawing some threads of hair that are just going across the face just to obscure it, for dark and white balance, or maybe you're trying to hide something like this eye didn't come out so good, I'm in a rush. But breaking it up into lights and darks, I mean, that's what all the great noir movies do with those goddamn curtains. What are they called? The Venetian blinds, right?
Yeah.
And Man Ray photography, like, oh wow, I can, get zebra stripes on my face just by putting the damn blinds on. All that great style. There's some great black and white photography. Just like light and shadow. Sometimes trees. Could be anything. Vines. But
yeah, Man Ray's a really good reference to look at for values if you really want to get a better understanding for values.
Well, I saw his retrospective at the Met. I think it was like 2 years ago, and it goes all the way back to his other days and his painting stuff. And the first section, you like walk this corridor. It was just like his black and white photography stuff and all of his famous stuff, and everyone's going ooh and ah. And then when you get to his painting days, I thought it was a lot of browns and greens, and it was in that like experimental style, kind of like less textual, less representational, and some of it just didn't seem like that aesthetic. I love all of his black and white photography stuff, and he had that stuff where that thing you did when you were a kid, you put a scissor and a quarter, and you make like a photo print. I forget what they call that. But did you ever do that?
What again?
Photogram, I think they called it.
Photo.
He was credited with the with the photogram. But Man Ray is great. Black and white, like make it like poetic design on the hair. It's a lot of opportunity to just frame the face, and the whole thing. That's why they have like Medusa and all these characters that have like tons of hair. Remember Kurt Lindo, the vampire guy?
Yeah.
He made his fortune just doing all this detailed hair, right?
Made his fortune.
Well, he's welcome to reach out if he hears this. But I remember doing work for him, like $6 a page. We were both having a blast, and then he put out this movie that was based on a story that I wrote. It was straight to video, and it's the worst movie I've ever seen in my life. So
all right, we got Corinne in the lobby. I'm gonna let her in.
Oh yeah. I'm gonna run up and get my copy.
Yeah, we can't hear you. Check down at the bottom and see if your earphone volume.
Kurt, I'll be right back.
Okay. She's got two coming in twice.
Can you hear me now?
Oh, I can. Perfect.
Oh, good.
All right. Corinne, how are you this morning?
Hey,
Jake just ducked out real quick. Just so you know,
okay.
I don't know. I hope I don't. We are live. We've been working since like 10:30, and instead of like we used to in the past, like just cut out at like 7:15 and then go and do, our interviews. But then we were like, why don't we just let him come on with us? And Jake's working on background stuff and everything. I'll show the book, and then I cut the episode out and then placed it in the it's a playlist for comment for the thing. So everything. But thank you for taking the day off.
Yeah. Hey, it's good to be home.
Yeah, on a Sunday there. But yeah, you got your stuff, Jake? Oh, there you go. So you there, Jake?
I'm here.
Yeah. So Jake and I have at separate times the opportunity to meet Corinne at shows. I met her last year at we lost her. Oh boy. You gotta love it when it's live.
Oh, no worry, we could fill the dead air.
Yeah, of course.
So Kurt, I found the section of text for the next page, and I already filled out the word balloons in.
Oh wow!
And I'm gonna be able to just drag the letters over directly into the word balloons, and that's gonna be one stop, no quote needed. 'Cause
Okay.
now I can figure it out in Photoshop, and I streamline the whole thing. So that's what I'm intending to do right now, matter of fact. But I gotta get my computer on.
Now you have to scan those?
I have to just bring them over to the white laptop.
Oh, okay. Oh, that's right. That's right. That's already there.
But yeah, this is going to be easy because, well, at least that first page, there's hardly any text on there. And yeah, I can probably do the whole. Well, I don't know. It depends how perfectionist I get, but I could bring all the letters of the words and just build the words from letters, and then by the time you're done, you're just copying the letters from the last word, and
Yeah. No, okay. Wow, that's great. It's almost like you should build a page like that with everything from A to Z, in, like, let's say 3 variations. So you'd have like a pile in the corner for 3 A's, 3 B's. Yeah, okay, shit like that. Yep. All right, yeah, her internet just went out. Seems to be a theme today with internet connections and connections in all ways. So, but yeah. All right. Please, everybody. I haven't reread Scorpio Venus Rising.
So turns out Alex Turbin did the review of the Rough Raiders, that ad I saw, and it's on YouTube.
When was this?
I don't know. I got it right here, and I'm just trying to get to the cover. Look, there it is. Boom. Ooh. There. All right, I got it. Now I can make it big. There's the Rough Raiders in hand. Colorful. And Alex is doing a flip through.
Oh, sweet.
So everybody, this is our buddy Alex Turbin, who did an 11-pager for the upcoming Do Magazine #1, our project with Ken Landgraf and Alex Turbin and Kurt and myself. And this is a little Ken Landgraf that I picked up, and I got this at the same con that I saw Corinne. So how's that for you? So small world. We got to talk to Alec about the Rough Raiders because he said it was a power comic.
He says it's a power comic.
He's using the label, yeah.
Yeah, I don't. Hey, more power to everybody defining power comics.
Just to everybody listening, you could go to where Corinne works and Forbidden Planet in the city, right? And you could buy this. The last time I went to get it, it was sold out. There was only one copy, and it was like all dog-eared on the little stand. So I was like, "Can I buy that copy?" And they're like, "Nah, this is the display copy." So I'm like, "Well, why are you displaying it if you don't have any for sale?" And they're like, "Well, we're getting some more, I guess." And they probably did. But I finally got this myself from a dealer at the same con. Look at this. Craziness. So this is, proud to say, our friend Ken Landgraf, who's just killing it with this New York City Outlaws, and I'm glad just to be near this project. Him being on our project too.
Yeah, Wendy, my wife, is a huge fan. I think it had something to do with actually seeing the originals for Turbo Pit Fighter, the 6-pager, and the Crown stuff. But she loves Ken Landgraf's work. Oh, and watches the videos on the YouTube channel. Here she is. And we're gonna need your voice again.
You can't hear me?
Oh, got you now. We got you now.
Okay, you got me? Okay. Woo!
No, it's not.
I have my phone on the side in case we need it, but
Okay.
I'm back to the computer.
But Jake and I had the same kind of it took us 20 minutes to get on this morning. It was just
God.
Something with
Every
the
once
internet.
in a while, my internet just goes out for no reason, and I don't know why. I'm sorry about
It's
that.
all of us. It's all of us. But I met Glenn at SBX last year.
Yes.
And then it was obviously we asked her if she would like to do the exchange. So got the Turbo Pit Fighter to her, and I got a copy of Scorpio Venus Rising, and then also was able to make the purchase for my copy of Acid Nun. And then Jake, where did you meet Corinne?
I think it was at the Mocha.
Yes.
Yeah,
Mocha.
it was Mocha. Cool.
Right. And
Hi, Jake.
Hey, good to see you again. So a couple tables over from you was this guy. Did you get to know him, Kevin Scalzo?
Oh yeah, I've known Kevin Scalzo for a long time. He's amazing.
Right. He seems like a good person, and Kurt, maybe we could talk to him sometime.
Sure.
I also picked this up at that show, so I was really psyched. And I forget who I got this from, but this was somewhere nearby you, right?
Nice.
And there wasn't too many tables that had like cool stuff, so you were great to see. When I came around.
Aw,
and I
thank
picked this
you.
up. I love this. I this is a real page turner. So
Oh,
we're
thank
really
you.
we're really giving the plug on this. I just can't show some of this, but you get the idea. Just starting off, like where do you like get your influences from? You could take us back to the earliest memories and
Sure.
just share your favorites.
So I was raised Catholic in Massachusetts. So I went to Catholic school from kindergarten through 5th grade. I was raised partially by my grandparents. My mom and dad got divorced when I was real young, and my mom moved my brother and I in with my grandparents, and they were really awesome. My grandmother was like an extremely devout Catholic, Irish Catholic from Canada, but Irish in descent. So I had a lot of Catholicism in my childhood, and I probably got into Edward Gorey first.
Oh man, lost her again. It's all right. We make it through. And I can edit this all together. You there, Jay?
Yes. Oh, sorry.
Oh, okay.
I muted.
You were
because Corinne was right in the middle of her thing, so I was like, let her talk, and then boop.
Yeah.
We lost. That's a great page right there.
Yeah, that's why I was
on the right. I mean, the lest if they think that I was endorsing the one on the left in any way, I'm as a parent and a community member, I have to hold the line. But the page on the right, I was saying, this is great stuff, and she's definitely not afraid to break any taboos. I think she was just getting to that with her upbringing, and it's really great to see such bold ideas, and she's out there. It's great. She's also apparently very accessible to comic fans in New York City. So it's great. It's great that she could work where she does too. You know, down at Forbidden Planet, it's like Union Square area down in New York City. I always stop in on my way to Greenwich Village because there's not too many. Oops, she was just on again and then off again. I wonder what this does, like if somebody's watching this on their phone. I guess.
Yeah, we need need sound.
Just need the sound.
Your audio.
Sometimes it takes a minute, I guess.
Yeah, it keeps cutting out.
It keeps cutting out. I'm so sorry.
Yeah, not at all. I just messaged you through Instagram saying everybody on Sundays at home using their internet. So.
Oh boy. If it craps out again, maybe I'll switch to my phone. Maybe that'll be better.
But it's no. I mean, we're so lo-fi. It's not even.
I don't know where I cut out. I went on for a long time there.
Well, you were getting out of the 5th grade at Catholic school with
with all the guilt.
When last we left,
Corinne was leaving Catholic school.
Yeah. So, basically, you know, after, you know, Catholicism, I went into public school, or after Catholic school, rather, I went into public school for the rest of my,
It's one of those days.
Eesh.
Hey, no worries.
All right, so let me try and find my stylus, and I'm just gonna start laying out. Well, I need to open Photoshop. That would be good.
Yeah, go for it.
The first thing I want to do is lay in the text for the Duke one-page lead-in, because I just had dummy text in there, but it's basically laid out already.
Yep.
And then, you know, it's really fun to oh no, yeah, this I do have to do this in Quark, but it's really fun to get the final copy, you know, together, like on air, like, oh, this is what we're gonna finally say right here, right now. So you're getting into the process of content, you know, finalization. There's a lot of last minute decisions, and you make them life and death on the air with no net. That's the cool part about doing Turbo. It's like you have the time set aside, right?
Right.
These things, right? Finish this page. Right. I said no. Hold on a sec.
Yeah, we can see you now.
Okay, I had to switch to the phone.
No worries.
But my phone fell into my coffee cup and broke my satanic mug, which is hilarious.
Hey,
so just give me one moment here.
Yeah. Right.
Wow, pretty funny.
It's I tell you, it's a day. I don't know if it's a full moon, either coming tonight or it's just
you gotta laugh at it, you know.
Oh, you have to. We can't.
Hey, Corinne.
That's the power of acid nun, you know.
Yeah.
Hey, Kurt.
Yeah.
Just breaking satanic bugs.
Yeah.
Okay, almost there. I just gotta.
Maybe if you turn off the video temporarily, it'll be smoother.
Oh yeah, yeah. No, that's a. But well, let's just see what happens with the phone. Now, are you landscape or portrait on your phone?
Do you want me to switch it? I can.
Yeah, see if you can, because what'll happen is if you throw anything up, like show off something, I can edit it, post in. See what
Okay,
happens.
let's see. Will that?
Now, of course, it
It
doesn't.
doesn't seem to be.
Yeah.
I turned my phone, but it's still oriented the.
Yeah, go back to the.
Okay. There we go.
Yeah, the other thing is,
Wow. Okay.
we use this platform called Riverside, and they've been making advances in podcasting, but I think they're reaching so far out for us little people. And so,
Yeah.
the technology part, I think, is what they're not maintaining on the updates. So if we're using older phones and
Okay.
it just gets a little glitchy. So Jake and I are probably going to have a conversation this
Okay.
summer about changing platforms if this keeps it up. But
Yeah, no sweat.
we're here. Okay, so now
Okay, I think I've mostly recovered from. Okay, I think we're good now.
You're good. You got the coffee.
Are you there?
Yeah, I'm there. I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yes.
All right.
Okay, cool.
Now,
all right, I am here.
If you want to make it easier on you, usually we have guests just actually turn their video off, and it just it can just
okay.
It can be easier on you for like the bandwidth and stuff, because even Jake's turned his off, so I guess we have a better
with
supposedly connection.
Great.
But when we last jumped, it was you were just heading into public school.
Yeah, I'm gonna start at the top. I'll try and speed her up just for continuity purposes. I was raised extremely in suburbs of Massachusetts, mostly. My parents got divorced when I was very young. Parents, and my grandmother happened to be an incredibly devout Irish Catholic. So I went to Catholic school, kindergarten through 5th grade. Just like a lot of religion in my upbringing. Get to high school, I was sort of a troubled kid, so of course I hung out with all metalheads and goths, and we ran around, got into quite a bit of trouble, and then I started watching horror movies, getting into heavy metal, cult films, weird cinema, our Crumb, the weirdo comics, all the underground stuff. And then after college, I ended up being a film video major. I expected to do painting and drawing, but I was able to do it as elective. So I was really excited to study something new, and I got to shoot on Super 8 and 16 millimeter. And it was an amazing experience. I had an amazing teacher, Saul Levine and Mark LeBlanc. And after college, probably around 2009, I ended up reading Black Hole by Charles Burns, and that book just like absolutely destroyed my mind and inspired me with levels. And I also actually somebody gave me a copy of Mike Tiana's Superfly at the time, which also completely blew my mind and kind of made me feel like you can do anything in comics. And I started doing Baby in 2009, and that was my first, I'll say serious attempt at comics, even though it's like a completely insane comic. And I went on to do 6 issues of Hate Baby. I've self-published probably over 35 zines and comics. I've done collaborations with other people. I've been a part of a ton of anthologies. The work I'm most known for is Acid Nun, which basically is, slightly autobiographical, but it also blends together all of my interests, which are horror movies, spirituality, the occult, the devil, tarot, esoteric things. Yeah.
No, you're definitely swinging from branch to branch when it does come to like surrealism. The thing that really I connected with was especially with the Scorpio Venus rising and the tarot, and then Jodorowsky. So I'm sure you're familiar with Jodorowsky's work.
Yeah, I love him.
Like, but
Holy Mountain.
And obviously with the title like Acid Nun, there was probably an experience with psychedelics that then gave you, would you call it insight to your work, or just maybe another perception about being a creative?
I think, if we're talking about acid,
Yeah, I mean,
definitely changed my perception. Are you there?
Yeah. I'm listening.
Okay. Mushrooms, I feel like mushrooms is like more of an spiritual experience for me. But yeah, I think they inform me about just life, existence, and creative pursuits in general.
So take us to what was your first published piece?
Like published by someone else or self-published?
Either one. The first story you got out there. I mean, for me, I know it was my first 6-pager.
Yeah. Before Hate Baby, when I was living in Providence, Rhode Island, I did 2 incredibly small short projects. One was called Black T-shirt number 1, and the other was called Skinny Black Pants. And I think I ended up making maybe 10 copies of each. And those were my first self-published comics. I have no idea who has them or if they're even still out there anywhere.
Mothers found them and burned them or threw them in the
right.
Right. The warping children's minds with comic books.
Corinne, I was showing Kurt this last week. When I don't know, I think I was some age between 16 and 18, and I put out Nightmares of Utter Dread, and it was the first thing I really finished too.
Ooh.
But yeah, it was 10 copies, so it was funny. Wait,
that's amazing.
We're gonna go over this one day on some show, but I'm sorry.
It was great.
But I really sympathize with what you're talking about. So was this the next thing that you put out, or was there something in between?
So basically we have.
I think Kurt and I have seen Scorpio and this, right? And
Yes.
Was there anything besides that we missed?
Yeah. I have a lot of collections of my gouache paintings. I did a zine called Way Down Low. I did a weekly comic that I posted every Friday for a black and white comic called Honey. And that was basically a very sweet, happy couple, but the wife was a corpse. It was gag strips, so everything had just a real punchy, sort of humorous, there is domestic bliss, but her head falls off or whatever. Stuff like that. I did a little comic called Ladylike that was basically a play on 1930s, 40s, 50s. In women's magazines, they have those outrageous advertisements. You got to get skinny, you got to put weight on, you got to be subservient to your husband, all that stuff. So I made strips based on ads called Ladylike. I did a comic called Cursed Woman. I think that was 2018. That is a sapphic, erotic vampire sort of one-person anthology. That's like a love letter to Euro horror, like Jean Rollin, Franco. I also did a comic called Demonophobiac, and it was 19, and that was about demonic possession, amongst other personal things. And I've been in a bunch of anthologies, like I was in Vacuum Decay, Viscera, and just a lot of anthologies as well.
Well, thank you for that. It was, it's an amazing, it's an amazing road you've been on, so to speak. I also had my metal days, and I've been in a band for like 20 years. But
Nice.
yeah, so the kind of like the evolution, but this is, to me, this is pretty serious art, and I'll say why. Because like, you spoke about your psychedelic days, and like the fact that you have these unabashedly like rainbow borders on everything that makes it look like a window into the panels, and then your panels look like they could be, like each page, so to speak, could be an art piece itself, like in a Liechtenstein kind of fashion, and it stands on its own. And I was wondering, is that intentional? And is the idea of like looking through a trippy window something that I'm supposed to get? Because it seems like it's a great formula. As you just turn in the pages, you don't hold a comic in your hand that's like that.
Oh, thank you so much. That is definitely part of it. Like I'm trying to you're on a little bit of an acid trip of their own while they read it. And also, it's also in a practical sense, I just don't want the information to extend past certain borders, so it all gets printed. And that was sort of like a mechanism I came up with that I all on the page, but it also was an intentional design choice.
So tell us about like the original that exists for each one of these pages in Acid Nun. Like, are they really like separate pages, or does it all come together like on a paste up, or is it digital? Or?
So it is that this is a great question because I've kind of learned from my time on Acid Nun. They are all original drawings. There's a handful of original watercolor paintings. Like the front cover is an actual watercolor painting. The back cover where she's in the pit of skulls is a watercolor painting. There's a long landscape where Eleanor and Baphomet are sort of like running down the street. Yeah, that one. That's an actual watercolor painting. But everything else is going to be hand-drawn line work. Now, most of them are at least 12 by 16. A good chunk of them are actually on 60. And then there's some random pages that are sort of like a weird amalgam of smaller drawings. For the 16 by 20s, you gotta do the half scan and then like blend them together or marry them, the two halves, which just, creates quite a bit of additional work. So by the time I got to Scorpio, I figured out to, just use all the one size paper. And I use Arch's watercolor hot press 12 by 16. So that's a little more uniform in terms of my line work. And then mostly digital coloring. So it's actual hand-drawn, line work. And then I digitally color in Photoshop and, the one for your iPad, what's it called? Procreate.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Hey, Kurt, what was the name of that guy? Was it Kevin J. Taylor that had all those outrageous comics with the goat head guy? I don't know. This I was wondering if you guys ever came across those comics. They were pretty
I don't
adult.
know if I did.
The girl. I
Oh,
think
cool.
Yeah, the girl. Yeah, the girl. I actually I met Kevin J. Taylor, and the girl is one of my favorite comics, like top 10.
Oh, cool! I've never heard of this.
It is bonkers. I mean, it is very erotic.
Okay, I'll put that down.
The beauty of the eroticism in the book is actually the story, believe it or not. And what Jake's referring to is a stripper, like I think in like New York City, is playing with black magic, and she calls a demon in to this world. And of course, she thinks she can control the demon, and then the script flips, but she does end up possessing some powers. And then there's a demon hunter that kind of comes in. I don't want to spoil it. If anybody can get a hold of, it's good. But I think Jake is also leaning into the compartmentalizing that you make in like on a page, and each panel, because I thought you might have been working smaller per panel and then collaborating those panels to create a page, then in digital color, and put the faux psychedelic background in there and everything. But the treatment is definitely there, and it comes across as that there's a very unified care for making the art and each panel. It's not like you get to a panel and you're like, oh, I can't stand drawing third eyes on, you know what I mean? And you want to just get away from it. There's so much intention on it. And that's, for me, that's the thing that attracts me the most to work, and also wanting to repeatedly return to it, and then you get deeper into the story. Like I was saying this morning when I was rereading, I think I got this far. Oh yeah, I got up to this point. But I just was like, just for me individually, I've been experiencing a desire to want to inject more of me, right? As a it's not like I correct me if I'm wrong, but this is not autobiographical in any other way other than you're just inputting pieces of experiences that you've now reevaluated to become a part of a creative flow.
Yes.
Okay. Because I'm starting to have a similar desire of wanting to put that through. It's not like anything particular I experienced that I want to autobiographically illustrate as a comic. It's just having the experience and having that feeling, and then wanting to inject that feeling.
Absolutely. Absolutely. That's why I always kind of say autobio threads, because it's definitely fiction. It's not really people, but I am taking these life experiences and deeply injecting it into the story.
And
it becomes even more so.
Go ahead.
It becomes more so with Scorpio because Venus is essentially me. So in Acid Nun, it's a little more like Annie's sort of like an avatar for me, and then when we get to Scorpio, like Venus essentially is me. I use myself for reference. She's telling my story. Again, it is fictionalized, but it is deeply rooted in my life experiences and, struggles that I've had.
Sure. And do you tarot? Like, are you
yes.
really into tarot?
Yes.
Okay. Because it's one thing to kind of lift tarot imagery and insert it, and then there's when you understand how to read a tarot deck, and have a reading and be able to, the best tarot readings I've ever had were hands down the best storytellers.
Amazing. Yes.
Right.
I absolutely love tarot. I've read professionally in Chicago. I did Riot Fest with my friend Anna, and then their sideshow gallery. I would do readings on the weekends, and I absolutely love giving tarot readings. It's just, I feel like it's a skill that becomes very natural.
Yeah. Oh, wow. Wow.
But there is that learning curve of like period of time when you have to learn all the card meanings. You have to like, it probably took me about 8 months to a year to like really learn all cards, all the meanings, what astrological signs they carry, what energy they carry, masculine, and all that stuff. Then after the time period is when I started actually doing readings.
And what a great like catalog, if you will, for it's like I've always akined it to like I have like a small collection of dream interpretation books, which like you could take 3 dream interpretation books and look up like teeth falling out, and each one of them will have a different description in a way, but you can inherently feel the meaning of what it possibly has in conclusion to your life for losing your teeth in a dream, like that type of thing. But
oh my god,
right?
You picked my number one stress dream is like all teeth stuff. Either they're falling out or crumbling in my mouth.
Right. Yeah, so if we're going to stop at this point and just do a little like push to for sales, this is still available on Power Pulp, right?
So the hardcover is not available through Power Pulp just because it's too sort of. It doesn't really make a lot of sense for me because that one is. No, you're fine. All my Scorpios are available on Power.
Correct. I apologize. Yes, that is correct. Yeah. How would somebody get a hold of
you're good.
How would somebody get a hold of?
So I have them available in my web shop, which is my website is CorinneHalbert.com, and there's like a store link, and then you can also get it through the Silver Sprocket website, the publisher. And then some local bookstores will carry it. Like Forbidden Planet carries it. You can always get in touch with your local bookstore and see if they have it.
Yeah, because like I said, I think one of the toughest parts of navigating, finding a new comic to read is when somebody approaches it from an autobiographical, and it's hard to make a connection, let's say, to their story. But the thing about Acid Nun is like, there's an immediate visual where you're going to be like, yeah, I'm into that, get in. But you have there's a repeated necessity of reading, specifically, well, both Acid Nun for me and Scorpio Venus Rising, where there's that like trippy retelling of the story, months later when you get to it, when you do it again. So like, this is something on a different layer than just like, oh, I got this comic book and I read it.
Yeah. No, I love that.
It would be also the same thing, like, oh yeah, I had a tarot card reading once.
Yeah, no, I love that. No, it's important to me. Part of my mission as a storyteller, since I sort of struggled with a lot of like, depression, anxiety, suicidal ideation, all that kind of stuff. And I know I'm not alone. So I'm trying to tell a story that becomes sort of like a healing elixir for myself. But, hopefully the objective would be for others as well. And one thing I noticed, and this is no shade towards any autobio, but like when you get too heavy and sappy and sort of poor me, and I'm not throwing shade, but like I feel like you kind of lose a lot of readers. So I like the idea of making it really fun. You make it really fun. It has those emotional moments, those beats, but that way I do feel like people maybe are able to absorb the actual story, the healing elixir I'm trying to produce, because I've created a fun experience. It's not like a, really tedious, like, oh, these are my problems and I feel bad about it,
Yeah, no.
If that makes any sense.
No, it does. It does.
Because I'm a little bit like, I honestly, like, I'm not huge into a lot of autobio. Some autobio I adore. Like, Gabrielle Bell is fucking amazing.
Yeah.
You know, it's just not my, you know, that's what I'm trying to make it sort of like an epic, mythic adventure story instead. Because to me, it's like fun, you know?
Oh yeah. I mean, it's definitely the adventure. One of the topics that we get kind of into, which I think we're falling into the same place. I think we did this with D. Was you know, comics being a place to transmit information or exchange information in an entertaining way, but for specifically the you know, like zines for instance, you know, we think of zines sometimes being comic book oriented, but it's transmitting an idea, you know, that type of thing. And that's where I guess I end up coming across you know, kind of sifting through newer material and being weary of autobiographical. But you know, the first thing is always going to catch me in the art. You know, I'm a first and second person reactionary with just the visuals. You know what I mean? Like the visuals are speaking already in volume. So
awesome. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Obviously, I'm a big R. Crumb fan. He's kind of the godfather of autobio.
Yeah, Jake went to this.
Love him or hate him.
The talk. Yeah, I think it's beyond that. My opinion,
I did too.
You got to just be beyond it. But Jake, you know, you went down and saw him in when Dan Nadel did the talk with him for the biography.
I was there too.
Oh yeah, I figured so much.
Oh, you got the signed book and everything?
That was awesome.
Oh, yeah.
Oh yeah.
All right. Yeah. I bought a print that he signed a long time ago, and I just put it away. I think I paid like, I don't know, like only like $180 for it at the time, maybe, or maybe like $280 for it at the time. I don't know what it's worth, but so cool. You know, I caught up on all this, like, you know, reading and like all of his archives. So, you know, I've been studying kind of like his pen and ink style my whole life, and you know, sometimes people mention him, and I'm like so honored, but you know, it's just a circle because that's what I was aiming for. And
well, that's a great place to aim.
Yeah, I love the way he just like can be really, really fast and have this, you know, very, very intricate illustrative style that, you know, people think is like, you know, retroactive and like, you know, from another century, but like, you know, very classic. And you know, he has a lot of influence on illustrators. He really does.
Absolutely. I did attempt cross hatching for a long time before I felt comfortable with it, and he's a master of cross hatching. But I found, this is my own personal opinion, that the secret to cross hatching is confidence. Like you just really just have to just go at it confidently, because if you don't,
Yeah,
absolutely.
Not saying I'm anywhere near as good as him, but you know, you get better as you do it more and more.
Yeah, that's a good point too. You know, also like he's also a master of lettering, you know, and
yes,
you know, Kurt knows like I obsess with typography and you know, like, you know, readability and like order and you know, like conventions of history and stuff. You know, like one thing that I've been like really studying my whole life is like chrome lettering, you know. But I teach a bunch of I teach a bunch of different lettering styles to my kids in middle school. We teach like bubble letters, wildflower letters, chrome letters. We do
amazing.
Yeah, we try to keep it interesting. Try to keep kids engaged.
That's great. I feel like because now we have such easy access, and no to anyone that does this, but like I am so more into hand lettering.
Yeah.
Even when you create your own fonts in a computer program, like I would much rather see the artist like actually letter it. And I know it's a lot of work, so like I get it. But I just personally prefer hand lettering. Even if it's sloppy, I'd rather be hand lettered.
Me too. I think it's very worth
Yeah.
the effort and the. I always find digital lettering literally most of the time, if I'm looking for a way out of a comic, I'll just bail because I'm tired of reading this cold, stale, punched out text font. I'd rather it be in the scroll. Like it was amusing in the way of like, I love this. Oh, good. Yeah. So this page particularly, and how this panel and this text and this text are considerably smaller than up here, but it had this vortex cut. You know what I mean? Like it worked. It worked.
Oh, awesome.
You know what I mean? Like it wasn't. This might have been a larger drawing that had to get shot. Whatever it was technically.
Yeah.
It's still being read in a readability thing, but it being a little smaller than the other text. There's a significant image that's being transmitted through text. And when people just kind of like punch in, oh, I gotta punch in the text of the story now. It's like, really? Like, really? That's really how much you care about your story?
It just is so distracting to me. I just like it just bothers me.
So technically speaking, Jake, when we started Turbo Pit Fighter, I put my hand up and I was like, "Oh, Jake, I'll hand letter, the pages as another layer, and then I'll give you the Photoshop file with it over the top, and then you can then take that and then kind of tweak it a bit." Well, 4 years later, or like a little less than 4 years, probably 3 years ago, a year ago, Jake now actually uses my original, like, I guess maybe the first 18 pages, 16 pages I hand lettered. And then we were trying to come up with a hand lettered digital font. But now Jake actually takes old, like prior handwritten letters that I've done to letter the pages going forward. Ooh. and goes cool.
I like that.
Yeah, and we know it has a bit of a frustration point with people out in our community, but there's something to be said about being that way, in making. Oh, we lost her. In making a comic book. So we'll get her back.
Oh, we lost her. Oh.
Definitely her internet, because she's really coming in low. But it is all right. No worries. No worries. Wow.
So I was actually able to import the text. It's getting to be a pain in the ass, like converting to this computer like the text, but I got it online, and now I just need to edit the hell out of it. So we have the Duke, a wrestler turned actor, then governor, then convict, and then creator of a worldwide resistance currency who funds a Searing Tuesday attack on Dehubergen HQ. Okay, so this is as Tuesday attacks are breaking out. On Dehubergen outposts. led by the Duke in his fully armed test to make a couple of those. All right, now I want to make this special. We can make it bold, and we can make it, yeah, like this. And then I'm gonna gray it out a little. So I'm going over my brothers for the Knick game. They're about to knock out, hopefully, the Sixers. And it's my favorite sport. I think to the exclusion of all other sports. Like, I could care about baseball or football as long as I have my basketball, and I'm just as into the WNBA as I am as into the NBA. But I've been into the NBA my whole life, obviously. Everybody in New York City public schools is playing ball and watching ball on TV. And I'm sure Philly's like that too.
Oh, I'm sure it's like that everywhere. Yeah.
Yeah. So we're going deep into the playoffs, hopefully. And I'm going to try and get some exercise with my bro.
Good time.
So I have this, like, talk about bribing people to read, right? So I have this top line here is like much bigger and wider. So they start to read. And then we can drop this down. And hopefully people will read like the smaller text. And you know they might not. They might not want to read.
I'm back.
Yes, you are.
Hey.
All
Can
good.
you hear me?
Yep.
Okay.
Loud and clear.
Cool.
It's all. Yep. It's all good. It's all good. So, let's go into like how you're promoting, like at, your work. What are some of the ways that you're going about promoting?
So I'm most heavily active on Instagram. I just find that has been I've been able to get the largest reach there. And I also have a Blue Sky. I used to have Twitter, but I just could not take any more muskery, so I got rid of it. So I have a Blue Sky. So I'm on there a little bit, and then of course I have a Facebook, which I post on. I'm pretty avid about self-promotion. I've also been doing video series called Corinne Comics Corner, where I talk about other people's comics.
Yep.
Which is just fun for me. I like being a ham, and I like sharing work that I think is really excellent. I like to promote my fellow artists that I really enjoy. So Instagram is the main spot, and I try and do it pretty frequently because, obviously, it's wonderful when you get other people sharing your work, but you really got to be your own cheerleader these days.
It's very true. It's very, very true. Corinne's Comic Corner is one of my favorite. Looking forward to getting on Instagram. It's kind of one of those things. But I also want to give you props for the leather racing gloves, driving gloves that you I think that's so cool because we know you were in Italy last year. Did you pick them up in Italy?
Yes.
Ah!
They're actually from Italy, but I ordered them online. But I love them so much. Like I just love wearing them. It makes you feel powerful. I don't know. I really like them.
If we all in the indie comic, scene industry, whatever the heck it's called, did more of that, just I mean, for you, it comes off very natural. Like you're not.
Oh, thank
You're
you.
not pushing yourself into doing it. But like, and I'm not saying that when people see your Comics Corner videos on Instagram that they should do something like that. But I definitely encourage people to try to do something to talk about other comics in the indie industry.
Yeah.
And I think it's like if there was anything to help the industry, the number one thing would be us. Because the crazy part of it is like 80% of the comics being bought out there are by the other comic book artists. you know,
100%. Yes.
It's like it's a hard thing to escape, but to also just be able to have somebody else kind of saying something about your work. The promotion is one thing.
Absolutely.
But hearing somebody say, "Hey, and I got this, and I read it, and it was really good, but I'm hoping that they do this next," or, you know what I mean? Like you get that feedback because I think the hardest part is, thinking sales is your feedback. I mean, it kind of is. If nobody buys your comic, it's probably not worth buying. But it's also based on how you go about promoting.
Absolutely.
And you do
I really miss Jim's show with Ed was amazing. Cartoonist Kayfabe. There's a really great, I know it's so sad. There's a really great podcast, Thick Lines, Sally Madden and Katie Skelly. That's a really good comics podcast. Oh, and then there's also the Comic Book Couples Counseling. They're really, really avid and what's that?
No, keep going. Keep on going.
It's this couple that they have a podcast and they do a lot of posting online. They go to all the events and stuff, so they're super avid about I think they're called Comic Books Couples Counseling. I think that's what it's called. I'll send you their page after if they're pretty great.
Yeah, okay. Kurt was,
but yeah, there's not a ton out there.
There's not, and it's very frustrating. Dan Snoke, he does his sporadically. It's Rave Sensation. This is on YouTube. These are just the people that I know. Just giving a shout out, Rally Zero, Urban, and I always look forward to somebody just being real about what it is that they have in front of them and talking about it, and it's just
absolutely.
It's also easy to kind of like that, whether you want to get into that book or not, that type of thing.
Absolutely.
But for some people there's really no boundary, and Crumb was a really good example of that. We all have that, like, as part of our own, like, self-set parameters, and in being an artist. But in cartoons and comics, our Crumb had this, like, honesty that was like, oh boy, like, maybe, a little bit too honest, and, definitely bumps up against, what stodgy parents are willing to put up with. And,
that's why I love him.
Yeah, I mean, all over the South, there's lots of places that, they love their religion, and then kids come from those communities that don't love religion. Welcome to San Francisco, welcome to New York, welcome to all the places that, generations have been fleeing, kind of like cultural oppression. And, religion was a big part of that. So it's great to see.
Absolutely.
It's great to see free expression and, everybody's vision of everybody's expression about what they want to say.
Absolutely.
Did you read Tales of Paranoia? The new one?
Jake has my copy, but you have read Tales of Paranoia, Jake.
I have it here.
You have it right there?
It made me laugh so... It made me laugh out loud so many times. He really cracked me up. I love the story about going to the couple's house where the guy was doing like medical experiments with drugs. That one really cracked me up. It was insane.
Yeah, he is, you know, they say unfiltered, you know, and I just think of him as really saying it out loud, you know, whatever it is. And if there's fences that have to have sides on it, but, you know, then damned it be that. But it is so difficult to find anybody in the arts, comic books, that's that willing and has been that willing to say it. You know what I mean? Like
yeah,
it's amazing. It's amazing, and the fact that he causes so much upheaval and conversation about his work, it's literally not ever going to go away. You know, and it's just
oh, totally.
It's almost the secret recipe to success in the arts is to be either like R. Crumb or David Lynch. I think of them in the same camp, and it's because they express David Lynch expresses himself wholeheartedly, but there's no way it's not in the specific like expressing hate or expressing sexuality or expressing these things that Crumb does. It's literally expressing like Blue Velvet, you know. And if you know what little you might know about him growing up, like in Spokane, and I have a friend that lives in Spokane, and I've been out there, and you get that same kind of feeling. Same thing about Philadelphia when he made
absolutely
Eraserhead. If you spend any time in Philadelphia and you go see Eraserhead or vice versa, you get what he's talking about.
Yeah,
you know, and you know, and once again,
I love David Lynch.
It just you know, that's the secret, is that just, you know, for society, it comes off as brutal. You know, like, oh, why do you have to be so harsh? Well, you're taking it as harsh. You don't have, it doesn't have to be taken that harshly. It can be just taken as is and then dealt with over time. So, but yeah.
What do they say? So there's the ego, the super ego, and the id.
Yes.
I've heard a lot of people say he's like the id on full display, which is very special and unique because, you know, obviously we have like Joe Matt, we have some other incredible cartoonists that, you know, they also put themselves out there, but, you know, Crumb did it first and he did it so hard. It's kind of a high bar to hit.
Which is also good because it does give you a
bar
to reach for. You know, there is a direction and
exactly
for. And yeah, I mean, it's funny that both Kevin J. Taylor and obviously Crumb is brought up, but that's the type of the bar that I reach for, you know, and you know, and really kind of like think about it in like, you know, oh, I want to express myself. Oh, I want to tell a story. Oh, I want to sell comics. Oh, I want to make a living as an artist. Well, I think just at the core, I just want to do. I just want to be, you know, that, and it's on paper and pencils and
absolutely,
you know, things and stuff. And at the end, you know, I interpolated from like just using Crumb and David Lynch. Is I just don't think they gave two shits about their celebrity either, or celebrity giving them the cause to make their art. Like I think that's the other difficulty.
Absolutely.
the time we live in right now, we're asked backwards. We're thinking, oh, how can I do something to be recognized and then therefore cherished and then therefore popular? And then for me, that brings it all up from high school.
Yes.
Like high school was a living hell for me.
Yes.
Like, it was just, and because it was that, it was vying for popularity.
Yeah. Totally. No, I totally agree. That's why I really think you're onto something big here, which is like essentially, if you want, obviously there's no hard and fast rule that's a guarantee, but like really I think the best thing any artist can do is fearlessly just be themselves.
Yes.
Not try and, not try and create like a quote unquote brand or persona or whatever. Like what is your experience? What is your story? What are you really about?
Yep.
There's a lot of power in that.
Yes, there is.
Yeah, and I would be remiss if we didn't ask, what are your favorite metal bands?
Ooh, that's a great question. So if we're kicking it back to high school, Type O Negative, 1000%. One of my favorite bands of all time. I thankfully got to see them live twice before Peter Steele sadly passed away. Huge Gwar fan. Again, I saw Gwar in high school and in my 20s, probably like they're the best. Probably saw them like 6+ times. Actually met Odorous once, Dave Brocky. So I saw them before he passed, thank God. One of my biggest idols.
I saw Gwar.
But I love all different kinds of metal.
I saw Gwar invade the Robert Crumb Gallery opening at Alexander Gallery on the Upper East Side, Lexington.
That's incredible.
And yeah.
Oh my God, that is so cool.
Yeah, I was also at that.
That's like two of my favorite things combined.
The other time I was at that gallery, they were doing a Frazetta show, and Glenn Danzig was there, owning the whole place.
Oh my God! Get out! What did you? Yeah. Jesus! Oh my God! I actually incredibly briefly met Danzig once. I went to the Verotic screening in Chicago. It was the very first screening of that film Danzig directed. And I was in the front row, and so he came and was shaking hands with the audience right after, and so I got to shake his hand, and I freaked out.
Yeah,
I love Misfits.
I think when Verotic first came out, they had a Comic-Con at St. Paul's Church in Manhattan, and I went down there, and there was a long line of people that were going up to, I don't know, shake his hand or whatever. And so I went up and I shook his hand. I was like 2 seconds. Hi, how you doing? And then you're moving on to the next person. This is the stupidest thing ever. I guess there was a lot of kids there. To me, the best band logo ever, best T-shirt ever. I have 20 different designs of it. I used to get the T-shirts from Erie Vaughn because I used to send him my comics in the 90s. Before he died, and
oh my God, that's so cool.
Jerry only lives in my town, where I used to live in Nyack.
Oh my God.
He drives a sports car, and he donated a skate ramp. And
oh my God, that's amazing.
Yeah, and just local Lodi, success stories. So good for them. They have the best merchandise.
Hell yeah. I love Misfits. They're the freaking best.
Yeah, well, did you see? There was there's not a lot of footage available, but sometimes on YouTube, they used to have stuff like. Did you ever see that Gwar video? The song was "Rock and Roll Party Town," and I don't know the video.
Yeah.
I used to look at it, but it was one of the first songs they did at a house party, and it was filmed when they were kind of half with costume and half not, and it was just a mob of people.
Oh my God, it's amazing.
Yeah, I think
that's from their first album, Hello.
If I remember, the entire mob was on the stage as they were playing. It was great. But
Oh
yeah,
my god, I'll have to check that out. That sounds awesome.
They used to do the Comic Cons, right? They used to have somebody was doing their comic for a while, and they would make it.
Yeah,
yeah.
they've done a couple new comics. I had back in the day, I had a bunch of those Gore comics. I even had signed ones, and I have no idea where they are. And it's one of my biggest. You know how you lose things over time, over moves. I'm just hoping someday I unearth them.
I also when Kurt and I used to do Flash animation, you know, I had an opportunity when I was like going and finishing my undergrad so I could become a teacher. I just needed finish my my art degree, and so I got to make an animated music video, and I asked a couple of bands if they wanted an animated music video, and Guar was one of them, and they said sure, make it. And you know, it could be your school project, and they could, I guess, take a look at the video. But I also had approval from the Gorgor girls, and I also had approval from the Muffs. So guess who?
Amazing.
Who would you pick?
Oh man, that's tough.
Well, I had to do the Muffs, my #1 band of all time, and
amazing.
I made the video, and I don't know, it's in limbo. I sent it to Ronnie once and asked him if he wanted to do anything with it, but I didn't want to like impinge on their you know,
yeah,
idea of their career. But I have this great video I made and completely animated of Another Ugly Face by the Muffs, and
that's amazing.
I obviously got an A on my project. So.
Oh, good for you! Oh my god, I love it. I would probably pick Gore or Typo.
What's that? Oh,
I would pick Gore or Typo.
Did you see Typo live?
Yes, twice. Thank God. With Peter Steele. He was a vision. He barely looked at the audience. He was always just sort of like looking off to the left or the right. What a singer. Oh my God. Love him.
Cool.
R.I.P.
Kurt, you used to be into like Depeche Mode, was it? What was your
nice?
Hey.
What was your deal? What was your favorite?
My favorite band is The Church. So,
okay.
And then I've been falling down holes like watching videos all night, like Scott Walker and the Walker Brothers. But you know, and I also like was a big Manchester man. So the Smiths, you know, it would start with the Smiths in New Order.
Yeah.
But I was a big goth kid in high school. I think that was my own. And then in Philadelphia, there was a long running Tuesday night goth dance party called Nocturne. And,
nice.
So we went to that. I mean, from high school to, I think the last time I went was 98. And then it ended up stopping weekly. And then the promoter, Chris, put together like, you know, bigger events and everything. But yeah, and one of the things that I met Daniel J from Bauhaus.
Ooh, love Bauhaus.
He did a down in the Vault, which is like a lounge area. He did a DJing set there, and every record he put on, he played it backwards.
Oh my God, that's so funny.
But he would look, you know, like I was like right there, and he would be like, "So what's going on?" Like, and I'm like, "You're DJing." He's like, "Kind of," you know. And it was like, you know, so like, you know, Bauhaus was a big thing, you know. Yeah, I love the Moody Romantics is really where I gravitate to, like music wise and stuff. So it's like I have seen The Church like 6 times.
Awesome.
You know, that type of thing. But
Kurt, we got to do the last segment. Sorry, man. Got to keep.
Yeah, that's right. I'm sorry. Corinne, do you have a copy of Turbo Pit Fighter nearby, or do you
I
remember?
do. I'm so sorry. I don't know. I have stacks and stacks of things everywhere. I'm very sorry.
You can
Oh
see.
well, I happen to have one right
You can
here.
see the screen,
Yeah,
but
yeah, yeah. It's
as
gorgeous. I love the artwork.
thank you. And you know the reason Jake and I started doing the
This
creator
is where
exchange
Chris is coming from.
interviews is getting to know the other creators out there, and
Yes.
and then being able also everybody we've interviewed has such a unique experience, but even journey. So to be able to hear their take on our turbo teaser, and suggestions, questions, comments, it's all open. So let us have it.
I mean, I just loved it. I love the artwork, especially. It's just like got the really great like action adventure comics with just a really, really cool, distinct style that I really love. And I like that it's got like gradation of tones and is not like I tend to be a very high contrast black and white with my line work, but I love the level of texture and shading you're able to get with the figures in the background. Really cool stuff. I really liked it.
Thank you.
So we're very open about it that our number one shared influence for this project is supposed to be like Road Warrior, but
Oh, hell yeah.
we we end up being into a lot of other things, and some people do mention Chrome, and I don't know. I guess it depends on the pose, but we're just happy to be like in a network of friends that are all doing our thing, and I hope you're really taking advantage of the cons and the I know you might want to plug where you work too, the exposure of the store.
Yeah.
And you know, the last question I had was about your original art. If anybody wanted to buy something, you mentioned some watercolors, but did you ever do like a print of a page or like strike a like a volume of signed ones or whatever?
Yeah, I have sold a little bit of the original art, but I kind of like to keep a large amount of it just because that's kind of like hopefully if things work out, a little bit of a sort of like investment for my future.
For sure.
Obviously, if it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out. But I have sold some original pages. The only original cover from either Acid Nun or Scorpio I've sold is the second number 2 of Acid Nun. I sold that original cover, but I have all the other original covers. I had a couple people asking about both the Acid Nun 1 cover and the Scorpio 1 cover. But I felt very confident that best idea was to keep those. So I think it's good to sell some of your originals, but definitely not all.
I agree.
And so I have portfolio books just like full of originals. And obviously, with the right price and the right person, I would sell more of them. I just I don't usually post those on my website. I do, however, make gouache paintings. I make like 8x10 gouache paintings. And those I put up on my website, and I've had a good amount of success selling those. They're usually for an 8x10. It's usually around $200 plus, like shipping and tax and stuff.
Well, you could save the shipping if you get them at a con, right?
Yeah. So, and then if I have any available at the time, like I have like anything that didn't like I put in my shop and it didn't sell, I will always take those to the cons. And I sold at least one original at Mocha, which was really great. It's always nice because it helps you make your table back like way faster. But yeah, so I just did Mocha in New York. My book will be coming out. So the collection of Scorpio Venus Rising will be coming out on September 2nd via Silver Sprocket. And we'll have a debut at SPX, Small Press Expo. Yeah,
Cool.
in Bethesda. That's where I met you, right, Kurt?
Yeah, and I'm
Yeah, yeah.
tabling this year. I'm going to be tabling this year.
Oh, fantastic.
Yep.
So I'm very excited. The collection should be out and available. And then, I've applied to a couple other, like NYCC. There's a new Brooklyn show I applied to. So we will see what the results of those applications are.
Are you
Did
going
get,
for
SVA
IC3?
one? Oh,
IC3?
Sorry, what?
I was just gonna ask you.
IC3, I want to, but unfortunately it's so close to SPX. I really
Right.
don't think I can swing it.
Right.
What was the other question?
Oh, did you see that SVA one? They call it fresh meat, I think, ironically.
Oh, I didn't.
No.
Is there a new SVA?
Yeah, I think I got a flyer for it at the Mocha, but I didn't follow up, and I think it might have happened already. But
Oh shoot, I missed
School
it.
of Visual Arts, the flyer said fresh meat, and so it was like, come take our artists. I guess it was tongue in cheek or something. But
Oh, because they're just graduating or something.
yeah, but then I think they were also doing pro tables too, so it was everything.
Oh, okay.
I don't know. That's why I was asking if you went, because it was on the heels of the other one.
No, I didn't. I missed that. There was Bix, but my boyfriend and I were out of town at a horror. One of our films played at like an independent horror film festival. We were actually in Philly.
Right.
The same weekend as Bix.
Chiller?
Oh wow. Yeah.
No, it was the first year of it. It was called Bloodsick Underground Film Festival. The dude who puts it together is Bruce Longo. He's awesome. We had such a good time. It was crazy awesome. Philly's great.
Yeah, it's true.
I had such a good time. Cool people, cool stuff to do, great food. We had a blast.
Right. That sounds righteous. I know a guy that does a film festival here in Nyack, and
Nice.
he brings in all kinds of stuff from all over. Yeah, they have it at a hotel over like 2 days, and people just go in. I think there's just like a viewing area. But,
Sweet.
Yeah, crazy guy. I played some live shows at his theater back in when he had it in Nyack before the pandemic.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah, big things got changed around. Anyway, I guess I gotta get going. I have a hard out at 1. But
Okay.
it was really cool talking with you. And
So cool.
I did have another question.
Sure.
So have you thought about like the digital legacy of your artwork? Like I was talking to Kurt about it the other day, and we're talking 100 years from now, right? Like we're basically going to be like PDFs, right, or something.
Yeah.
Where we're of the future, and like people just view our art or whatever. But it could also be in video or whatever. But it's like it's funny how we're in this time and space, and that our artwork could be in the hands of people, men, women, kids, young, old, and everything, to have some influence on them in the future. And do you have any like message? Like right now we're on a YouTube video. Do you have any message for the people of the future?
Oh man. Well, I just hope that the fact that we have all these resources that we could help all these people and we don't, I just hope to God by the time people, 100 years from now, I really hope that's changed, because it's really upsetting. But, I guess as an artist, it is sort of the dream that, once I'm in a pine box or burned up or dead and gone, that like, I do hope my art lives on. I do. I guess time will tell. Oh, thank you.
Yeah, and hopefully we inspire the people of the future to do what we're doing.
Yes.
I mean, Kurt and I, we kind of laugh because we put everybody on the spot to like talk about our comic at the end, but Kurt says over and over, our real product is really just our Sunday podcast and having guests and making these videos. And who knows in the future if anybody will ever watch these, but you know, it'll be there, and that's that's funny because there's always been people making comics, and the more we meet, the better it is. The more they have to say, and the more they say, life is worth living. We should be doing creative things. Why are we killing each other? All of these
Yeah.
that have been around. So it's great to meet another person on the road.
Yes. I mean, art is very, very important to me. It's one of my favorite things. It's like how I choose to express myself, and I'm so grateful I get to express myself. And I just think it's really important, and it feeds our souls, and we need it.
Yeah, I agree. And when I teach during the week, and I have summers off, and Kurt and I do this every Sunday. So making a time and place for us, it is taking forever, but we're putting out Do Magazine #1 in
Awesome.
sometime this year, and and Turbo Pit Fighter is gonna come out. Looks like sometime next year. Like,
Fantastic.
yeah, so finally our dreams will be fulfilled, and then we'll
Yay.
and then
Jake,
we'll
so you have the hard out. You want to take us out?
yeah, I will. This way we have a couple minutes to talk.
Hold tight.
So for anybody that's gotten this far, thanks for checking in. Corinne, we really want to thank you for sharing so much and explaining your work to us, and seeing how inspiring it is too. And folks, if you want to check us out next Sunday, 10 a.m. Eastern time, we have our other tabs. We have our flip throughs. We have our other tabs. We have our creator interviews, which you just heard. And we'll see you guys next Sunday. Thanks for everything. And on the outs, Corinne, you want to give us your socials or whatever?
Yes, thank you so much, guys. I had so much fun. This was fantastic. I really appreciate you thinking of me and bringing me on the show. And for anyone listening, if you want to find me, my website is just CorinneHalbert.com, which is CorinneHalbert. And there's a link to all of my like my store, my Instagram. I keep it simple for people. All my Instagram handles and like my Facebook profile, it's all just like Corinne Halbert. I will say I don't really tend to accept friend requests from people I don't know. But so Instagram is really where it's at. So please follow me on there if you're feeling it. And yeah.
Looks good, folks.
All the links. I'll put all the links down in the description. But Jake, I will see you next Sunday, and a happy Mother's Day to you.
Thanks, and remember, this is not a one and done. So we'll see you again and again, and just hold tight while Kurt finishes up the housekeeping. Night, everybody.
Bye.
Go Nick.
Bye.